Sabbath peace.
Sabbath peace.
Another opportunity for us to come together and hear and learn of the word of truth that's given to us by the Most High God. All honor goes to the Father through the Son, whose name is Yahushua. In him lies the only hope for salvation. We know that it is obtained by grace through faith, not of works, lest anyone should boast, and given freely as a gift to all who obey him. We understand that if you do not obey him, it is made manifest or made obvious that you do not believe. In this state, you should expect no good thing from the Most High. However, anything that you do get, whether it be a gift of tongues, a gift of prophecy, or any supernatural experience that you may have, it can and it will be used against you in the day of judgment. With that said, peace to the saints that are in the room, to the saints that couldn't make it, to the saints watching in on the camera, to the saints in the chat. But no peace to the wicked. The only thing we say to them is repent that they might live. All right, so last week we finished up Matthew chapter 24. All right, Matthew chapter 24. We did have you wasn't at Bible study, but we did have Bible study. So we finished up Matthew chapter 24. Remember Matthew 24, we was answering 3 questions, right? The first question was, when will these things be? Talking about when was the temple going to be destroyed. You remember Yahushua was pointing to the temple. He looking like, nah, man, it's going to come a day. Not one stone going to be on top of another. So they asked, when is that going to happen? And the next question they asked is, what will be the sign of your coming? And the last question was, and the end of the world. So when is the end? When is the world going to end? You're right. So he proceeded the whole chapter to kind of answer those 3 questions, right? Focusing a lot on when the world was going to end, but he also spent a little bit of time talking about when the temple was going to be destroyed and what would be the sign of his coming. So that took us about 3 weeks to kind of get through because we wanted to get detail. We wanted to go back into the book of Daniel and kind of look into how Daniel prophesied a lot of this stuff, and that's where Yahushua was pulling it from. Not just Daniel, but the other prophets as well. So now let's continue on, right? That was Matthew chapter 24. Let's pick up Matthew chapter 25. This is Matthew chapter 25. We're going to start off at verse 1. This is Matthew chapter 25, verse 1. We almost at the end now of the gospel, right? Yahushua doing his last bit of teaching before these people try to come get him. This is Matthew chapter 25, verse 1. Watch what the book says.
Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish.
Right, so it's 10 virgins. You got 5 of them. Half of them is wise, and the book says the other half is foolish. Right, so let's see if the parable explains what makes one group wise and one group foolish. Let's see.
They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out.
Right, so now they asked for so it said the foolish group asked the wise group. They said, why don't you go ahead and give us some of the oil because our lamps is going to burn out. Right, watch this. Keep going.
But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you, but go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves.
Right, so now the ones that were called wise, right, they said, no. Right, they like, can I get a little bit of your oil? So, because we got lamps, ours about to burn out though. Y'all look like y'all got enough oil to last. I tell you what, can I get a little bit of your oil? But the ones that were called wise, they came back and they said, not so. You know what I'm saying? No, you can't get none of this. Right after they said, no, you can't. What you doing? Oh, okay. They said, you know what I'm saying? Not so. You can't get none of this. So they said, look, why don't you just go get yours? Because if we share ours, what they say? If we give you our oil, what's going to happen?
It's not going to be enough for us and you.
Read it for me.
And the wise answer saying, not so, lest there be not enough for us and you.
Right? So they saying, listen, it's not enough for us to share. And we can't risk our light burning out. So what they gonna tell them to do after that? Let's see.
But go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves.
Right? Why don't you just go to the store and go get you some oil? It wouldn't make sense for us to share our oil with you, because now both of our lamps would be darn burning out. Right? Now watch what Yahushua say.
While they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor hour when the Son of Man comes.
Right? This illustration kind of shows you that there are going to be people, right, that are alive when Yahushua come back here. And those people, some of those people will not, maybe even all of them, I don't know yet, honestly, but at least some of those people will not be able to enter the kingdom. So they're going to be looking at the kingdom here on earth. Yahushua going to be standing there, and they're going to be looking, and they're not going to be able to enter into it. Right? That's something that we have to calculate. That's something that we have to keep in our mind, because this is how it's going to play out. People going to be thinking they got time, that they got time to mosey along, try to figure it out. And it's going to be righteous of the people that's not going to look. I have to do what it takes to make sure I'm delivered. I don't have time to be trying to chase up behind you and make sure you have everything you got. A lot of time people will make you feel guilty about that type of stuff, but no. You got to be like the wise woman. Not so. You got to go get it on your own. Right? When it comes to this word, like, listen, I got to make sure I get an understanding. You can't let nothing distract you. Literally cannot let anything distract you. Not your life, not your kids, not your anybody. And they could be looking to learn the book with you. Your kid could be coming to you like, can you explain this to me? You know what I'm saying? And you looking like, wait a minute. The brother talking. I'm trying to get an understanding. Stop talking. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to tell them. You be quiet while I get an understanding. Because if I don't get an understanding, nobody going to get an understanding. Right? The mindset got to be, I got to get it right. It's similar to what Yahushua told us. Grab Matthew chapter 7. We're going to come right back. But grab Matthew chapter 7. It's Matthew chapter 7. Give me verse 1.
Judge not that ye be not judged.
Right? So Yahushua told, he said, judge not that you be not judged. If you don't want to be judged, then don't judge. That's what he's saying, right? You shouldn't judge nobody if you don't want to be judged, is what he's saying, right? Keep going. Watch this.
For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what
right?
measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again.
So in other words, what this is saying is like, you know what I'm saying? The same way that you use your judgment against people, it's the same way Yah is going to use his judgment against you. So if your mindset is, you know what? You shouldn't talk behind nobody back. You know what I'm saying? But when somebody do something to you, you sit there and you talking behind their back. The Most High God is going to be like, well, so I know you knew better than to do that because you told somebody to do that. So now I ain't going to have no mercy on that. You a hypocrite. Right? That makes you a hypocrite. You still talking behind people back. You know what I'm saying? Now, why you know what I'm saying? Why you being so hard on other people? Y'all remember we read the parable about the servant, you know what I'm saying? The servant that owed his master money, and he came to his master and he told the master, like, man, I can't pay. You know what I'm saying? I just ain't got no money. I can't pay. Right? Then the master looked at him like, man, you know what? Your debt has been forgiven. Then that same servant went to another one of the servants, one of his fellow servants, and his fellow servant owed him money, and he shook him up, you know what I'm saying? Smacked him up. He was like, no, you going to pay me. And then he had the man put in jail. Did he have him put in jail?
Yeah.
He had him put in jail. Then when the master heard about it, he looking like, wait a minute. I forgave you of your debt. Then you went down and shook my man down for a couple pennies? Are you kidding me? Right? So that's how it is. It's like, okay, You understood what mercy felt like. And you know what I'm saying? You understood what it was like to not have it. But now you want to pretend like you don't. Okay, well, your same judgment you use is the same judgment going to be used against you. So that's what Yahushua is saying right here. Keep going. Watch this.
And why beholdest thou the mote that is in your brother's eye?
He said, why beholdest thou the mote that is in your brother's eye? In other words, why are you looking at the big old log, right? It's a big old, you know what I'm saying? A big old obstruction in your brother's eye. You know what I'm saying? And then what else?
But consider not the beam that is in thine own eye.
But you're not looking at the bigger obstruction in your own eye. In other words, you got something blocking your sight, right? Your darn glasses is dirty and foggy and got stuff all on them. But you sitting there pointing at your brother like, man, what's all that stuff on your glasses? You need to wipe your glasses clean. But your glasses are dirty and foggy and nasty. It's like, how you even know my glasses dirty? That might be your glasses as dirty as they is. Right? So watch what he said.
How wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye?
Uh-huh.
Thou hypocrite. First cast out the beam out of thine own eye, then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye.
And that's what these ladies is doing, right? The wise virgins, right? There were wise virgins. They were sitting there like, listen, we got enough oil to burn, but we don't have enough to share. So they was making sure that they got everything clean out of their eye first. They had to take care of them first. And that's the same thing Yahushua was saying here. Take care of yourself first. It makes zero sense for you be putting all your effort into cleaning your brother's glasses when the requirement is to make sure your glasses are clean. You get done cleaning his glasses, he make it into the kingdom and you go right to hell. You got to make sure yours are clean first. Make sure you good. Make sure you got what you need first. And then you can focus on other people. And that's what these virgins knew. They knew enough for themselves. They were wise enough in themselves to know, like, you know what? I don't quite have what I need. You know what I'm saying? I don't quite have what I need. So y'all going to have to go out there and get it on your own. And you can't let nobody make you feel guilty about that. You know what I'm saying? You can't let nothing come in between you and getting what you need from the Most High God. Nothing. Like zero excuses. Brother T, you still there? You know what I'm saying? Zero excuses. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to make sure, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever your goal is, and this is for any goal, right? But whatever your goal is, you got to remove all excuses or you got to just settle and say, you know what? That ain't the goal for me. Right? And that's the same options that you got with God. The Most High God, you can say, okay, you know what? I'm going to turn from all sin and I'm not going to let nothing be an excuse. I'm going to learn what I need to learn from the Most High. I'm not going to let nothing be an excuse. You know what I'm saying? And if I can't do that, if I ain't got the mind to do that, if I ain't got the heart to do that, then guess what? This just ain't for me. Sometimes there's not a lot of people that's going to tell you that about God, right? But listen, the majority of people walking around, this is not for them. That's book. That's book. The majority of people walking around, this is not for them. So if you identifying that self, you being honest with yourself, like, no, I really just am not interested in God. Man, walk in that. Accept it, live in it, walk that. Don't be sitting there lying to yourself about no stuff. But if in your mind you looking like, man, I don't care how I feel. I don't care what I think I'm capable of. Listen, I just need to know God. I got to get it right. I got to clean this stuff up. It ain't nowhere else for me to go. If that is your mindset, or if you want that to be your mindset, sometimes that ain't your mindset yet. But if you think that should be your mindset, if you want that to be your mindset, man, you can't let nothing come in between you and the Most High God. Right? You just got to keep going. And sometimes that means that you don't have time to service other people's needs. Right? It's the same thing. Grab Luke. You remember we were talking about Mary and Martha? Right? It's the same thing we talked about when we read Mary and Martha. Grab Luke. It's Luke 10. It's all the way at the end of 10. You might have to help me out. I don't know if y'all remember with Mary and Martha, but watch. The brother about to read it.
38.
It's Luke chapter 10, verse 38. Watch what the book says.
Now it came to pass as they went that he entered into a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha received him into her house.
Mm-hmm.
She had her sister called Mary, which also sat at Yahushua's feet and heard his word. But Martha was cumbered about much serving, and came to him and said, Lord, dost thou not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? But bid her therefore that she help me. And Yahushua
Right? So Martha is serving. She taking care of people. She making sure everybody's straight. She making plates, picking up the trash that they leaving, bringing their dishes back into the kitchen, watching the kitchen. Okay, hold on. You want something to drink? Okay, here you go, something to drink. She making sure everybody is good, and she being hospitable. Not one person in this house, on the camera, in the chat, not one of y'all would look at that and be like, no, that's wrong. She shouldn't be doing that. Right? But watch what happens. She asked Yahushua, she said, Yahushua, you don't see me doing all this work and you don't see my sister just sitting down? Why don't you ask her to help me do this work? We trying to make sure all the brothers is fed. Right? Watch this.
Yahushua answered and said unto her, Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things. But
He said, you worry too much. He said, you stressing out. That's what he's saying to her. When the book say careful, when we think of careful, we think of like, I got to be careful. I got to be precise. You know what I'm saying? I got to make sure I do this right. That's not necessarily what he's talking about with careful here. He's saying careful like you're worried, you're stressed, right? So he's saying, man, you stressed out about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like you're taking too much, you care too much about it is what he's saying, right? You care too much about this stuff. Watch this, keep going.
But one thing is needful, and Mary hath chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away from her.
He said, one thing is needful, and Mary has chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away from her. What do you think is needful? To sit at the feet of Yahushua and learn the book. Right? And he's telling her that's not going to be taken from her. It don't matter how much serving you're doing, that's not going to be taken, because his mindset is you got to make sure you got what you need first before you start trying to serve people. If you don't have what you need, you have no business trying to serve people. I know it look glorious sometimes. Oh yeah, man, I can teach the Bible too. I know that thing like the front and back. I can do. Okay, I hear you, but just make sure you got what you need first. You know what I'm saying? So, I just want to set up, this homeless shelter and just, house people in the name of Yahuah. I feel, look, that's a good work. But at the same time, before you take on all that stress, make sure you got what you need first. Make sure you straight. Make sure you turned away from sin. Make sure you ain't got no mote in your eyes. Make sure you see clearly. Because when them people start coming to you asking you for advice, you have to be ready. Right? This is Matthew, where we leave off. It's Matthew chapter 25. Where we leave off?
Verse 13.
It's Matthew chapter 25, it's verse 13. What's the book say?
Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor hour wherein the Son of Man cometh.
Mm-hmm.
For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another he gave 1, and to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey.
All right, so he gave 1 talent to one, 5 talents to another, and then everybody to his, his separate ability.
All right, let me read that again. He gave 5 talents to and he gave unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, and to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey.
Right, so 5, 2, 1, right? And when he say everyone to their several ability, he's saying they separate ability. So it's like you when I look at you, be like, no, okay, you can handle 5 talents. You know what I'm saying? Kind of think of it like money, right? It's like I'm an investor, right? And I own, you know what I'm saying? I own a lot of real estate. So then I might look at somebody who is a real estate agent and I say, okay, listen, I want you to go find me a house, right? I'm about to go out of town. I'm about to give you $500,000. Go find me some property that I can buy with $500,000, right? I give you the most money because I know you get the job done, right? You have proven that you get the job done. So now I've entrusted you with $500,000. Go find me, you know what I'm saying? Go find me a nice little property I can invest in, right? Then I go to the next one and be like, you know what I'm saying? Now, you do a good job too now, boy. But I ain't gonna give you 500,000. I give you 200,000. I'm saying, take that 200,000, go find me a property I can invest in. You know what I'm saying? You might have to go get some, you know what I'm saying, a little beat down, a little fixer upper, but that's all right. To go find something I can make some money on, right? Then the last one, he gave what, one?
Mm-hmm.
So that one he only gave $100,000 to that one. He looking like, look, I ain't got a whole lot I can risk with your butt. I know you don't, you know what I mean? But look, I'm gonna give you $100,000. Go find what you can. You know what I'm saying? Go find something, put a little invest in. Maybe you got to partner up with somebody else. Figure it out. Find me some property, something I can invest in. $100,000. A little condo on the west side or something. You know what I'm saying? Do something. Let's do it. Get it done. $100,000. Do it. So he gave one $500,000, one $200,000, one $100,000. What the book say?
Then he that received the 5 talents went and traded with the same and made them other 5 talents. And
Right. So the one that had $500,000, he went in, he bought a property, he flipped that thing, he came back with $1 million. Right? He doubled it up. He had 500,000, he made 500,000. Now he got $1 million. Let's do it. Right? Come back. Let's see.
And likewise, he that received the 2, he also gained another 2.
Right? So then the one that had 2, he bought a nice little property, you know what I'm saying? Little, you know what I'm saying? A little 4 unit, you know what I'm saying? On the east, you know what I'm saying? He bought that thing, he collected rent, then sold it, came back, doubled up his money. So he started out with $200,000, got another $200,000. He ended up with $400,000, came back to his master, like, yeah, no, I got that. We good. Right? Then what happened?
But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money.
Right? So then listen, the dude that had $100,000, even though his master told him, go find me something, man. Go, you know what I'm saying? Find a little condo, find a little something. It can be on the west side. I don't care. Like, go get the prop. Just find me something, right? The man with $100,000, he is looking like, man, look, all the properties that I see for $100,000, that stuff is risky. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna take the money and I'm gonna put it under my bed. Right? So here he said he took the 1 talent and then he dug it and put it in the dirt to save it, to keep it, so he didn't lose it. Right? Let's see what happened. That sound wise? That sound smart? Why not? Oh, you think it's unwise because he gonna dig it into the ground and he'll mess around and lose it. Somebody gonna take it from him. Okay, why you think it's unwise? He said so you know what I'm saying? He think, you know what I'm saying, it's unwise because it's Yahuah's money and Yahuah sees everything. You know what I'm saying? Let's see why it's unwise. Let's hear about it.
And after a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them. And so he that received the talents came and brought another 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more. And his Lord said unto him, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over few things. I will give thee ruler over many things. Enter
Right?
thou into the joy of thy
You
Lord.
took my $500,000 and you made another $500,000 on top of my $500,000 and then brought it back to me? That's a bad boy. You good. You know what I'm saying? He said, you know what? Go ahead and join my company. you can rule the whole real estate division. Right? He hired him on permanent. At first, he just hired him as a real estate agent. Then he said, you know what? No. You work for me now. I want you to manage my whole, you know what I'm saying, all my whole portfolio. Just manage the whole thing. That little 500,000 you got, oh, you got way more than that. I'm gonna pay you $1 million a year. Right? Come back. Watch this.
He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them. And his Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter into the
Right?
my Lord.
He made him a boss too. Right? The one that doubled up the 200,000. He made him a boss too. Watch what happened to the one that only had one.
Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee in that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is yours.
Right? So then he said, look, I understand who you are. I know you don't play about your money. You be going, you know what I'm saying? You be getting into other people's stuff that's not yours. You know what I'm saying? And you collect money from other people's work. That's what he's saying, right? Other people stress and fight and you know what I'm saying, do all this work, and you collect the money. You benefit from other people's work. He's like, I know who you are. I know you don't play about your money. So the last thing I wanted to do is lose your $100,000. So here, I got your same $100,000, same $100,000 you gave me. Here it is. I gave it back to you. He thought he was doing something all right. But watch how the master responds.
And his Lord answered and said unto him, thou wicked and slothful servant.
He called him what?
Wicked and slothful servant.
He called you wicked and he called you slothful. The reason why I like to highlight this is because the logic works. The logic works like, man, look, I know you don't play about your money. I didn't even want to risk losing your money. Right? I didn't even want to risk losing your money. So I hid your money. Look, I got everything that you gave me is back yours. I know you don't play about your money. You like collecting money. You don't mess around with no money. You listen, I know you a hard man when it comes to your money. Here you go. There go your same money that you gave me. I'm giving it back to you. I didn't lose a penny. But go back up. What did he ask them? What did he ask them to do?
For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling who called
Let's see. Watch this.
Traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And one he gave 5 talents, one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, and every man according to his separate ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, but made other 5 talents. And likewise, he that received the 2, he also gained other 2. But he that received the 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money. And after a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received the 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou hast delivered unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them. And his Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will give thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Then he which received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. And his Lord answered and said unto him, thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knowest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at thy coming I should have received mine own with usury.
Right? So he's saying, listen, it would have been better for you to give it to a bank and put it in the savings account and at least collect a little bit of interest on it. Right? At the very least, if you wasn't going to do nothing, at least you find you a good little bank You know what I'm saying? He called it the exchangers, right? But he's saying at least find a good little bank that can pay a nice little interest rate. Look, if you got $100,000 right now, right, you can go open a jumbo CD account, right? They might hit you off with, you know what I'm saying, little, you know what I'm saying, 5%, 6%, 7% interest rate, right? You let your $100,000 sit there in a year. Now you got $106,000, $107,000, right? He said, at least give me an extra $7,000 on my $100,000. The other boys is doubling it up. You couldn't get nothing. He looked like, oh, you wicked, lawful, you lazy, but your butt don't even scare you. No, nah, get your butt out my darn face. Why would he say?
Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. For everyone that has shall be given, and he that shall have abundance, and he shall have abundance. But to him that has not shall be taken away even that which he has. And cast
right. So now his little measly $100,000 that he held on to for all that time. He said, "Nah, man, you know what I'm saying? Take away his $100,000. Yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. Give me my darn money." He was like, then he said, "Get that to the one that came back with $1 million, the one that had $500,000, and he doubled it up to $1 million." He is like, "Yeah, nah, go ahead and get $100,000 to him, because he know what to do with it. So if I got extra money, guess what I'm gonna give it to? I'm gonna give it to the one who know what to do with it." Right? So he said, "Go ahead and give it to him." But watch what happened to the man.
And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. When the Son of Man shall come into his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides the sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on the right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was a hungered, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee a hungered, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto the one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall he say also to them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was a hungered, and you gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you took me not in. Naked, and you clothed me not. Sick and in prison, and you visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see thee a hungered, or a thirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to the one of the least of these, ye did it not for me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into eternal
what?
life, into life eternal.
No. He said, "These shall go into what?
Everlasting punishment." And
Punishment that he talking about lasts forever. Don't let these people get the line and you be like, oh, no. Like, it's only two ways out of this thing. You gonna live forever, or you gonna die forever. And die forever don't mean like, oh, you die and you never come back. No. That means the punishment will last forever. The fire will burn you forever. You know what I'm saying? That's how the book describes it. You know what I'm saying? It's an everlasting fire. You know what I'm saying? And that everlasting fire is the punishment. And the book say that punishment will last forever. So if the punishment is burning, that means you never burn up. Right? And that might not make sense. You know what I'm saying? That may not make sense. You'd be like, how you got something that don't burn? We seen that before, haven't we? Grab Exodus. Let me see. It's Exodus chapter 4. Exodus chapter 4. Give me, I think, verse 1. This is Exodus chapter 4, verse 1. Watch what the book say.
You mean chapter 3?
Or chapter 3? It's Exodus chapter 3, verse 1.
Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian.
He kept the what?
The flock of Jethro, his father-in-law.
Look, what when Yahushua started off, we was just reading it, Matthew chapter 25. He said he gonna separate what?
Sheep from the goats.
He gonna separate the sheep from the goats. That's a flock, right? When he talk about separating the sheep from the goats, that's a flock, right? He got that from Moses. Moses was keeping the flock, and then he went up and he keeping Jethro flock, right? Who flock is Yahushua keeping?
His father's.
He's just the shepherd, just like Moses was. I don't know what's going on with this earpiece. Goodness gracious. Right? Keep going. Watch this. Moses kept the flock.
And he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of Yahuah appeared unto him in the flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. And
He appeared unto him how?
In the flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, but the bush...
Look, the bush, it burned with fire. He saw a bush, and it was on fire. Then what happened?
And the bush was not consumed.
That thing didn't burn up. Right? Don't get it in your mind. I know a lot of stuff we ain't seen before. Don't try to act like, you know what I'm saying? Don't try to act like it's stuff new, though. You ain't never seen nobody walk on water. That's all right. Don't mean it can't happen. The book just told you. The bush, it was on fire. It was not consumed. That's what's going to happen. Right? You're going to have all these people that's going to be dead. Dust. Grab Ezekiel. What is it? Ezekiel 37, I think. I think it's Ezekiel 37. Give me Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 1. A whole bunch of dead people, right? All over the world. And everybody going to get resurrected. Everybody who dead going to get resurrected. It just all comes down to, well, you know what I'm saying, which resurrection you going to be a part of. Because some people going to be resurrected and have their body put all back together. Everything going to be nicely fit back together. And they going to walk into a resurrection of life. They're going to live forever. They're going to have new bodies that's going to be just like the Messiah's new body. Right? They're going to be protected. They're going to be inside of the kingdom. They're going to have the heart of the Most High God in them. The spirit of the Most High God. The law going to be written on their heart. It's going to be instinctive for them to do the right thing. Right? But then it's another resurrection. And that resurrection, man, woo. Body going to be put back together. Everything going to be nice. Just to be set on fire. Fire can't consume you. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine, like, you going to be able to feel everything, but it never stops. Like, it never just burns up. You just feel it as if it's burning up, but it never actually does. That's a tough time. That's a tough time. This is Ezekiel. Is Ezekiel 37 what I want?
Mm-hmm.
That's Ezekiel chapter 37. Give me verse 1.
The hand of Yahuah was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of Yahuah, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones.
Right? We in a valley, and it's full of bones. So Ezekiel, the Most High God, he took him in the spirit, and he set him down in a valley. So he gave him a vision of a valley. But in his vision, he's there. Like, he's like, I'm experiencing this, right? So he in a valley. Most High God just dropped him. You know what I'm saying? He flying through the air, just drop him. Boom. And it's a valley in front of him. And you know what I'm saying? You think of a valley as like, you know what I'm saying? You think of like a big hill or mountain on one side, a big hill and mountain on the other side. And then in the middle, it dip. And then think of that dip. It's just full of bones, human bones, just all over the place. A big old graveyard. Bunch of people died right there, and their bones is just deteriorated. No skin, just bones, right? So he's looking at all the bones sitting there, and I bet, you know, he's looking at it like, what does this mean? Let's see.
and caused me to pass by them round about, and behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Yahuah God, you knowest. Again
Right?
he said unto
He
me,
looked at that. He asking the question, can these bones live? Ezekiel like, man, I don't know how to answer that. If somebody know, you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you mean? You know what I'm saying? You know it. So watch this.
Again he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of Yahuah. Thus says Yahuah God unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and you shall live, and you shall know that I am Yahuah. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to bone. And when I
Right? So
beheld,
look, the Most High God told him, speak to these bones and tell them, you shall live. This is why people think they can speak stuff into existence. You know what I'm saying? That's why they think, because they be seeing the prophets do stuff. No. The Most High God specifically told him, speak to these bones and they shall live. So he start prophesying. And as he prophesying, he start hearing the bones shake. You know what I'm saying? Just, right? And then what else happened?
and when I beheld, the sinews and the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered
Right?
them above.
So
But
look,
there
he
was no
said
breath in
the
them.
sinews and the flesh came upon him. Do you think of sinews is like the joints? You know what I'm saying? So like the joints start coming in between where the bones fit together. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, muscle and tissue start going around. So there's just like an open, you know what I'm saying? You know, like, you know what I'm saying? You be in your science book in school, and sometimes they got the little human flesh thing. They trying to tell you with the different body parts, but it ain't got no skin on it. So that's what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? Just muscle and all that, you know what I'm saying? Just muscle and tissue and the sinew and the bones, right? Then after that, what happened?
But there was no breath in them.
No,
Then
before that,
came, and when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them.
right? So
Then,
the skin then came over the sinews and the flesh, right? And wrapped around it. So Ezekiel is watching this happen. He's looking at dry bones, right? He started talking to, he's like, man, I don't know if this, you know it. You know what I'm saying? What you ask me if they can live for? If anybody know, you know it. He said, go ahead and speak to these dry bones. He started speaking to, Most High God said there will be breath in y'all. You know what I'm saying? And as he started talking, the bones start rattling and shaking. And they start coming together, and the sinews and the flesh and the muscle and the tissue, all of it start wrapping around the bones. All of a sudden, then you got skin that cover all of it. So it's looking like, oh, these things is turning into real human beings. Watch this. Keep going.
and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. Then he said unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say unto the wind, thus says Yahuah God, come forth the four winds of breath, O breath, and breathe upon these, breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood up upon their feet, an exceedingly great army. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off for our parts. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus says Yahuah God, behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am Yahuah when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves. And shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall you know that I am Yahuah, that I, Yahuah, have spoken it and performed it, saith Yahuah. the
Keep
word
going.
of the Lord, the word of the Lord came upon me again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it, for Judah and the children of Israel for his companions, and take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house
Uh-huh.
of Israel.
Look, so now he got two sticks. You know it's another name for a stick?
Rod.
A rod. right? You remember what Yahushua was talking about in Matthew chapter 25, right? Let's go back. This is Matthew chapter 25. What verse? Probably verse 25, right? It's Matthew chapter 25, verse 25. What does the book say? It's Matthew chapter 25, verse 25. Watch this.
You want to go where we were, or you want to do 25?
No, I want to start at the beginning of separating the goat and the sheep.
All right. You want 31.
Okay, it's Matthew chapter 25, verse 31.
When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of glory. And behold, and before him shall be gathered all nations. And he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divide his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
Right? So it's going to be sheep on his right hand and sheep on his left. Right? I mean, and goats on his left. And the ones on the right hand, he going to say, you know what? Come inherit. If he's separating sheep, what would that make him? That makes him a shepherd. Right? So that's why he's telling you right now in Ezekiel, he said, listen, I'm going to have a rod. It's 2 rods. Let's go back to Ezekiel. It's Ezekiel chapter 37. Because a shepherd has a rod. I can tell you that's what Moses came up there with. When Moses was walking up in there, he had a staff. Watch, I'm going to go back and prove it to you. Right? This is Ezekiel chapter 37, where we leave off.
17.
Keep going.
You want to go to Ezekiel?
Ezekiel chapter 37.
All right. And join them one to another in one stick, and they shall become.
So now he's taking one rod, which represents Israel and his companions, and then another rod, which represents Judah, right? And he took those 2 rods and he put them together, and they became what?
One stick in thine hand.
So now he has one stick, one staff. And then what does he do with it?
And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Say unto them, Thus says Yahuah God, Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand.
Right? Who you think the fellows of Israel is?
All the tribe.
We gonna talk about that. You know what I'm saying? We don't get into it today. We gonna talk about that one, right? Actually, the answer is right back. Okay, let's go back to Matthew chapter 25. So look, he said Joseph and his fellows, and then he said Judah, right? He gonna put these 2 together, right? Watch what Matthew chapter 25 says. We're gonna start right back at what verse 31, I think it was. It's Matthew chapter 25, verse 31. Then after that, we're going back to Moses. That's Exodus chapter 3. I don't know what verse. Matthew chapter 25, verse 31.
And when you see the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall
all what?
Them, all nations.
Who do you think the fellows is? Watch this. Keep going.
And he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divided his sheep from the goats.
He dividing all nations. And out of all nations, he's dividing the sheep from the goats. When it's talking about Joseph and his fellows, he talking about Gentiles. Right? He talking about the Gentiles that decided to serve us. The Gentiles that decided to be righteous towards the Most High God. The Gentiles that repented from all their evil ways just like we did. Right? From all nations, he going to go and he divide them. So that he makes one rod. Right? The rod is what Moses used when he was carrying Jethro's flock. Which is the same thing that Yahushua used when he looking after the Most High's flock. Right? Let's go back to Exodus chapter 3. Start back at verse 1. Watch this. There's a lot of symbolism in this book, and it'll fly right through our heads. The Most High God trying to tell you something with this rod.
Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, and the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. The angel of Yahuah appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed.
I wonder if Moses had a rod when he was looking at this fire. Let's see. Keep going.
And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw not thy hither, put off thy shoes from thy feet, for the place whereon thou stand is holy ground.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father Abraham, Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry, by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and bring them out into a land, unto a good land, and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression where the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee to Pharaoh, that you may bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. Moses said unto God,
Watch what Moses say.
Moses said unto God, Who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt?
All right? Moses, God looking like, why don't you stop looking after Jethro flock, and I want you to look after my flock. Right? Moses look like, who am I to look after your flock? You know what I'm saying? Who am I to lead your flock into better pastures? Your flock is different. Right? Watch this. Keep going.
And he said, Certainly I will be with thee. This shall be a token unto thee that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people of Egypt, the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve God upon this mountain. And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come into the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say unto me, What is his name? What shall I call them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. God said moreover unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, Yahuah, God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together, and say unto them, Yahuah, God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites, into a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken to thy voice, and shall come, and the elders of Israel unto the king of Egypt, and you shall say unto them, Yahuah, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us, and now let us go, we beseech thee, 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to Yahuah our God. And I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go, no, not by a mighty hand. And I will stretch forth my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof. And after that he will let you go. And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, and it shall come to pass that which you shall go, you shall not go empty. But every woman shall borrow of her neighbor and of the and of her that sojourn in her house, jewels of silver, jewels of gold, and raiment. And you shall put them upon your sons, upon your daughters, and you shall spoil the Egyptians. And Moses
Keep
answered and
going.
said, behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will
They
say,
said, look, Moses looking like, man, I don't know if they gonna believe me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, they not gonna believe me. They not gonna listen to me. Why not, Moses?
and and they will say, the Lord has not appeared unto thee. And the Yahuah said unto him, what is it in your hand? And he said, a rod. And he
He said, what's in his hand?
a rod.
Look, Yahuah look, and he look like, you a shepherd, boy. You got something in your hand, don't you? What is that? And guess what Moses said? A stick. The whole book testified Yahushua. He had the flock. He saw a bush that's not going to be consumed. It's just burning, not going to be consumed. That's the same thing that the Most High God showed Ezekiel. He showed bones that came back together. Some of these bones that come back together, not going to have life blown back into them. They're going to be bones they're going to be bodies that will not be consumed in the fire. That's what Yahushua said when the punishment going to last forever. When he separated the goats from the sheep and he put the sheep on the right-hand side. Yahushua got a rod. You don't believe he got a rod? Grab Ezekiel 34. This is Ezekiel chapter 34. Give me verse give me Ezekiel 34. Give me like verse 14. Give me like verse 10. This is Ezekiel 34. Give me verse 10. Right? When the Most High God is telling you about a rod, he's giving you the imagery of a shepherd. When he's telling you about separating the sheep from the goats, he's giving you imagery of a shepherd. He's telling you that this is a shepherd. Many of the men of God that the Most High God have chosen have been shepherds, have been people who keep the flock, right? They kept sheep and they kept cattle and they kept all these things. Many of them have been that because he's giving you specific imagery for a reason, right? Yahushua said he's going to separate sheep from the goats, and he's going to put the sheep on his right-hand side. Watch this. Keep going. This is Ezekiel chapter 34, like verse 10.
Thus says Yahuah God, behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require
I'm against who?
the shepherds.
What shepherds are you against, Yah?
And I will require my flock at their hand, and cause them to cease from feeding the flock. Neither shall the shepherds feed themselves anymore, for I will deliver my flock from their mouth, and they may not be meat for them. For thus says Yahuah God, behold, even I will both search my sheep and seek them out, as a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among the sheep that are scattered. So I will seek out my sheep and will deliver them out of the places where they have been scattered in a cloudy and dark place. And I will bring them out from the people and gather them from the countries, and will bring them to their own land and feed them upon the mountains of Israel by the rivers and in all the inhabited places of the country. I will feed them in a good pasture, and upon the high mountains of Israel shall the fold be. There shall they lie in a good fold, and in the fat pasture shall they feed upon the mountains of Israel. I will feed my flock and will cause them to lie down, says Yahuah God. I will seek that which was lost, and bring again that which was driven away, and will bind up that which was broken, and will strengthen that which was sick. But I will destroy the fat and the strong. I will feed them with judgment. And as for you, O my flock, thus says Yahuah God, behold, I judge between cattle and cattle.
He said, I judge between cattle and cattle. Between what?
Between the rams and the goats and the he goats.
Between what?
Rams and the he goats.
Do you know what a ram is? A sheep. Right? A male sheep is called a ram. A female sheep is called a ewe or a ewe, however you pronounce it, right? They call it a ewe lamb would be you know what I'm saying, a little baby. It'd be a baby female, right? But the male sheep is called, so the whole family is called a sheep. A little one called a lamb, right? But the male, the adult male is called a ram. So he's saying, I'm gonna separate the ram from the he-goat. I don't know where Yahushua got this from. And what was he just talking about? The shepherd. He said, I'm gonna become my own shepherd and I'm gonna go get my sheep because I can't trust none of the shepherds I sent. All these shepherds is feeding themselves and leaving the sheep hungry. I can't trust none of the shepherds. When he says shepherd, he's talking about pastors and leaders and the people of our people who present themselves and put themselves forth as leaders, but they lead the people out to dry. Right? This is what he's trying to explain to you. He said, look, no. I'm going to become the shepherd myself. Y'all saying I'm going to be the shepherd. And so that way when y'all come and get us, he going to judge between cattle and cattle, between ram and he-goats, which is exactly what Yahushua was saying. He said, I'm going to put the sheep on the right hand. That's the rams. And I'm going to put the goats on the left. Everybody got to pass by the rod. Grab Ezekiel chapter 20. Ezekiel talked about this a lot. Right? This is Ezekiel chapter 20. Give me verse. I never remember. It's like
20. Wait, hold on.
Huh?
It's like 20. Like 2020.
No, it's further down than that.
Like
I feel like it's in the 30s. Yeah. It's either 39 or 31. It's Ezekiel chapter 20. Let me see. Brother got to help me out.
Okay. We do 33.
33. It's Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 33. You got to watch it because he's about to tell you everybody has to pass through the rod. Everybody has to be separated from the rod. Right? And if you aren't separated by the rod, then you won't go with the king. You won't go with the okay, hold on. Before we go to Ezekiel, grab Genesis chapter 30. This is Genesis chapter 30. Give me verse 17. This is Genesis chapter 30, verse 17. We got to understand all the imagery, all the history that we got of shepherds. I just want to show y'all something. The whole time the book talking to you when it's talking about these shepherds. They sleep.
And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived and bare Jacob the fifth son.
Nah, jump on down. That was 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, then maybe 27. Try 27.
I don't think so. It's 30.
30.
Yeah, because that's going back when 27 is before Jacob even met Rachel.
No, not chapter 27. Verse 27.
Okay.
Chapter 30, verse 27.
Okay.
Or verse is somewhere. It's gonna be somewhere around there. It's gonna be further down than 17.
We'll do 25.
25. This is Genesis chapter 30, verse 25. Watch what the book say.
And it came to pass when Rachel had born Joseph that Jacob said unto Laban, send me away that I may go with my own place, to my country. Give me my wives and children for whom I serve thee, and let me go, for thou knowest my service which I have done thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that Yahuah has blessed me for your sake. And he said, appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, thou knowest that I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me. For it was little which thou hadst before I came, and now it is increased unto a multitude.
Right? He said it was little what you had before, but now it's increased to a multitude. He said your cattle was with me. He kept the cattle. Right? That's why Ezekiel 37 told you, 34 told you, I judge between cattle and cattle, between the rams and the he goats. Right? Watch this. Keep going.
Yahuah has blessed thee since my coming. And now when I shall provide for my own house also. Now, when shall I provide for my own house also? And he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep thy flock.
Mm-hmm.
I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all speckled and spotted cattle and all brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and of such shall be my hire. So shall my righteousness answer for me in thy in time to come, when it shall come to my hire before thy face. Everyone that is not speckled and spotted amongst the goats and brown amongst the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. And Laban said, behold, I would it might be according to thy word. And he removed that day the he goats that were rain sank and spotted, and all the
He removed what?
All the goats that were rain sank and spotted, and all the she goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown amongst the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his sons.
He removed all the he goats. Right? Yahushua said, look, I'm going to separate the sheep. I'm going to put the sheep on my right hand and the goats on my left. Laban said, yo, we got a deal. You take anything of the cattle, right? The cattle is everything. The cattle is sheep. It's going to be cows. It's going to be goats, right? Sheep and goats are different, right? So in the sheep family, you got rams, you got lambs, right? On the goat family, right? You have he goats, you have she goats, right? And then you got kids, which is kid of the goats, right? It's a baby goat, right? So that's two different types of animals here. Look, he struck a deal. He said, look, of all the cattle, right? I make a deal with you. This is what Jacob says. I'll take the ones that's blemished, right? The ones that got spots and speckles on them. I'll take that. You keep the ones that's clean, that's all one solid color, right? Jacob think he giving them a deal. You know what I'm saying? Like just going there, you know what I'm saying? I'll take that. You take that. We'll call it even, right? Laban said, all right, that's a plan. Because Laban knew if there was enough there that Jacob he'll leave. So what Laban did is like, okay, well, let's make sure that he ain't got enough. He'll stick around if he ain't got enough to leave with, right? So that he took all of his cattle that had spots on it, and he removed what?
The goats.
Read it again.
And he removed that day the he goats that were rain sank and spotted, and all the she goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it.
Right? So he removed all of the he goats and she goats. This is exactly what Yahushua said. I'm going to put the goats on the left. I'm going to put the sheep on the right. Right? He said, I'll remove all of the he goats and she goats. Right? And took them out. Because then he knew that every piece of cattle that's left would not have spots. Right? They would be solid colors, which means according to Jacob's deal, he wouldn't have anything that he can take from Laban's flock. So that means he would have to keeping his flock until something speckled and spot came out, and then he would have to get enough of those speckled and spotted cattle, then so he could say, okay, I have enough for me to leave. Because right now he would be leaving with nothing. And the deal was, I'll take anything that got a spot on it. And I'll keep the cattle until I do. Right? So watch this. Keep going.
And he said 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar and of the hazel and chestnut tree. And
right? So Jacob took what?
rods of green poplar and of the hazel and chestnut tree.
Look at that. Jacob got a rod too. So now he took rods of green poplar, right, of the hazelnut tree, and what did he do with his stick?
Hazel and chestnut tree, and peeled white strakes in them, and made the
So
white
he peeled
appear
them
which was
things. You
in
know
the
how you peel? You think of like a bamboo or a big old, you know what I'm saying? You peel that thing and it turned white. So he peeled them. What else happened?
and made the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had peeled before the flocks in the gutters, in the
Right? So
watering
then he
trough,
stuck them in the ground, like probably leaning, right? He probably stuck them in the ground at an angle leaning. Watch this.
and in the watering troughs when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle, rain-sank, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the faces of the flocks toward the rain-sank, and all the brown in the flock of Laban, and put his own flocks by themselves, and put them not into Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maidservants, and men servants, and camels, and donkeys.
If you look at it, you see that he was able, using the rod, to separate the good cattle from the bad cattle. If he had cattle that was strong, right? He put the rod, like the thing, he put it at an angle, he set it in the gutter, set it at an angle, peeled that thing, and then when the cattle came and they start humping on each other to have babies, they had a baby, and if they did it in front of the rod, the Most High God made it that the baby came out with spots on it. The deal is, if it come out with spots, it's his. So what he said is, anytime I got two strong cattle about to mate, oh, well, hold on, what y'all doing now? Let me put the rod in front of you. You pass under the rod, and it produces a strong spot cattle. That's mine, because I'm Jacob, right? If I see some feeble, weak cattle, oh, no. Pull up that rod. I ain't trying to do that. So when they mate, they have a weak little, you know what I'm saying? But it's solid color, but it's weak. You know what I'm saying? They ain't no good. Okay, good. That's Laban's. So we kept doing that until he had all of the strong and best cattle. And in doing that, he separated Laban's from his. Right? This is what Yahushua is talking about. He's separating the sheep from the goat. Right? Because he is the shepherd with the rod. Just like just like Jacob is the shepherd with the rod. Just like Moses was a shepherd with the rod. Right? Just like Ezekiel prophesied of putting the rod together after he saw all of the bones that came together and became living bodies. Right? Just like Ezekiel prophesied about the shepherds that did his flock wrong. So then you know what? Yahushua got to come and got to be his own shepherd. And he going to judge between cattle and cattle. He going to separate the he-goats from the rams, which are sheep that belong on the right-hand side. It's Ezekiel chapter 20. Watch this. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 33.
As I live, says Yahuah God, surely with a mighty hand, and with stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, I will rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there I will plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, says Yahuah God. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and
I will cause you to do what?
Pass under the rod.
Man, somebody got to be speckled. I will cause you to pass under the rod. Then what else?
And I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
Look, if you pass under the rod, I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. I wonder if everybody gonna make it into the covenant. Let's see.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me, and bring them.
I don't know why y'all be playing with God like he's saying something different. Whole book saying the same thing. Look, I will bring you and pass you through the rod and bring you into the bond of the covenant. But I'ma purge out the rebels because the sheep gonna be on the right hand and then everybody else gonna be on the darn left hand. Let's go back to Matthew chapter 25. All this is imagery that he's trying to tell you of how it's gonna work out in the end of the world. The whole book testified of man. That's why he asked Moses. He looked at Moses. He said, Moses, what you got in your hand right there? Moses was like, oh, this whole thing is a rod. Oh, is that right? You saw that bush that wasn't consumed, right? This is Matthew chapter 25. Give me verse, what verse, 31?
32.
This is Matthew chapter 25, verse 32. Watch what the book say.
And before him shall he gather all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divided his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on the right hand and the he goats on the left. And the king shall say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord.
Look, the righteous going to look at him and be like, whoa, 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 whoa. You was sick. You was hungry. You was in prison. They looking at Yahushua like, huh? When were you this? Watch this.
And when we saw thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee, or when saw we sick or in prison and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, insomuch as ye have done it unto the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me.
So he said, look, that's to those on the right. He said, look, I looked out for y'all. I put y'all on the right hand side. Y'all passed through the rod. Y'all passed under the rod into the bond of the covenant. And the reason why I did that is because you know what? Y'all looked after me. And they looking like, well, when did we look after you, Lord? I don't know. I don't remember that. He's like, oh no. So listen, when you did it, look around you. Just look around. Every one of y'all look around. When you did it for each other, that's when you did it for me. Right? When you did it for the brothers, when you did it for the people who keep the law, when you did it for the people who keep the covenant of Yahushua, when you did it from the people who turned away from sin, right? When you did it for the people who love their neighbor, right? When you did it for them, that's when you did it for me. Right? Then he turned himself and looked to the ones on the left. All right, let's see what he said to the ones on the left.
Then he shall also say to them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, in the everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels.
Right? This is the goats. Right? The ones on the left, the goats, he said, look, depart from me. You know what I'm saying? Going into that fire, the fire that lasts a couple months.
Everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels.
Mm-hmm.
For I was hungry, and you gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you took me not in. Naked, and you clothed me not. Sick and in prison, and you visited me not. Then shall they answer to him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee a hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to the one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into eternal life.
I got that, right? It's important that we understand what the Most High God is saying. What he's trying to explain to us is we have brothers, and we may not know that our brothers are brothers. We may not know that these people serve the Most High God, right? That's why when you look at it, you have to be generous with the people that serve the Most High God, right? That should be a priority for us, right? To serve the Most High God, to serve his people, right? Serve the people that serve him, to support our brethren. If we do that, and it's a simple thing to do, right? If we do that, then we've done it for Yahushua. That's the same thing that he told us way back earlier in the gospel when we was reading. He said, look, anybody who gives even a man a glass of water in my name has given me a glass of water. Right? Because that's how Yah sees it. right? We have to love each other the same way that we love him. And when you don't, and you a sinner, and you turn your back on the brothers, and you try to fight against the brothers, and you don't repent from sin, will that put you in a position where you're going to go into the everlasting fire that's prepared for the devil and his angels, right? And that thing is everlasting. And guess what? You're going to have bones and sinews and flesh in that does not get consumed. Just like that burning bush. Moses had to turn aside and look at that thing like, I ain't never seen no bush that don't get burned up now. That's crazy. Right? That's crazy. Yeah, he probably was leaning on this stick. He's been leaning on that thing, looking at it like, oh no, that's why I ain't never seen nothing like that. Most of God trying to tell him, okay, all you got to do is take my flock, cause them to pass through the rod. You take my flock and cause them to pass through the rod, we gonna be all right. All right. Any questions? Questions in the chat? Need some more water. See, what questions we got in the chat? All right, look like no questions in the chat. All right, well, if you got questions, the number's right there, emails right there. Go ahead and send them in. We'll deal with them later. Other than that, Sabbath peace, and we'll, you know what I'm saying, let's go ahead and pray out.